Two big questions today about our critical defense in the Middle East. How many troops will the U.S. need to sustain an Iran assault that the president says will last 4 to 5 weeks or more? Here's what we heard from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
I don't want to talk specifics because that would tip the enemy off. We have more tactical aviation flowing into theater just based on the time it took to get it out there. I think we're just about where we want to be in terms of total combat capacity and total combat power.
The second question, does the U.S. have enough firepower? The president told the New York Times, quote, "It won't be difficult. We have tremendous amounts of ammunition. You know, we have ammunition stored all over the world in different countries." But Politico reports there is concern that a sustained Iranian response could deplete U.S. air defenses, including interceptors that the defense industry has struggled to produce. Joining us now, retired U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Robert Harward, member of the Iran Policy Project at the Jewish Institute for National Security of America. It's so good to see you, Admiral. For folks who are not steeped in the military, tell us about the importance of these interceptors and where our stockpiles might stand.
Well, great question, but not necessarily the best question. So let me answer your question first. Look, we have extensive stockpiles in the area. We've deployed many but this is where the cooperation and partnership comes in. Not only have we, but all our host nations, our partners in the region, over the years, they built out their own integrated air defense, and they have stockpiles as well. So we're well prepared for this event. So the more important question, what are the Iranian stockpiles like? And I've talked to some of my friends. I have a lot of different contacts on this subject. We think they may have gone through 60 to 80% of their missiles already and now relying heavily on Shaheeds. And we really haven't maximized our offensive capability. That's kicking off just now based on the deployment to go after all their inventories, all their launching sites. So I can tell you this, we'll be able to treat their inventory long before they're going to be able to degrade ours. And I think you'll see that play out in the next few days. So again, in terms of who's got more, there's no question about that. And what they have is going to go away very quickly if they already haven't expended a great deal of those to date.
What I've read today, and again, you have probably much better insights on this, but was that of all the destruction that was done, they still have the capacity to produce missiles. What can you tell us about that?
Again, I have to believe that's part of the targeting processes, their production, their storage facilities, and anything they use to launch that. And again, I think now that we have complete air dominance, that will only accelerate the rate at which we can engage those targets. And don't forget, in the war last year, we attrited most of their surface-to-air missiles, really making them valuable. So it's still what they were able to reconstitute over the last year is nothing compared to what they have. And that capabilities was this first wave of attacks. So again, I think their stockpiles is the real question. I think we're going after those, and we'll treat them not only where they're stored and where they launch us, but more importantly, where they can produce them. And I think that race we're winning wholeheartedly.
The Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, today would not rule out the possibility of troops on the ground. And of course, there are always tactical decisions being made every day, every hour, based on what's happening. What would you say about what the circumstances would have to be on the ground for the United States to consider actually moving forces in that way?
Well, first off, I don't think anyone believes that's going to be necessary, at least not in toppling the regime. And as I'm seeing it, there's this close coordination, collaboration with Israel is kind of not just for intelligence, for operations. And I think from what I'm seeing in the news and hearing, most of their operations have been focused on Iran, the regime change, where we're dealing with the air defenses and the missile threat. And I believe the steps they're taking will ensure that the end state will have a government that is not a threat to the region. And I don't believe that will require U.S. troops on the ground. I would tell you this, though. Once this regime is gone, I think a lot of Americans, ex-Americans, former Iranians, will be quick to go into the country to help the new government, help government build again. So I'm very optimistic of how this plays out. But as the secretary said today, as the president said just last few minutes, we've got to take care of this threat from the missiles. And I think we're on the right path to get that done in short order.
Vice Admiral Robert Harward, thank you. And still ahead, Trump's operation in Iran ratchets up the debate